Hey guys, welcome to the second Trackolia video conference. I promised you that we were going to go into the math a little bit more. I think we've done a pretty good job at this point of discussing what we're actually doing. What is the product? You understand what that is? It's using the massive power of the mobile app network for iOS, Apple, and the Google Play Store for Android. Our first app is already up, the Trackolia app, which is a package tracking app. We know that eventually when we go live, what we're going to be doing is people are going to be advertising for a monthly subscription, which initially it's $20 for this initial package of advertising each month. And for $20, they're going to have their banners inside of the actual app rotated. Now we're announcing for the first time that the banners are actually going to be shown on the website itself for no extra charge. All of that for $20 a month. So this video, we're going to talk about the amazing math model that we have created, the revolutionary mirror compensation plan or dual compensation plan. Now, it took me a while to really wrap my brain around the numbers and how things move. So don't feel bad if you don't get it at once. But let me tell you something. When the light bulb goes off and you do this on paper and you understand the power of the way that things move with the dual compensation plan, you're going to realize that there is no math model currently out there that is even close. So let's talk about a little bit of where this came from. Well, first of all, like you guys know, we are veterans of the biz-op world, just like you, internet marketing. We've seen it all. And the problem is that we've worked it all too. We have brought in a lot of people on a lot of different deals over the years. So we've actually seen the real power or lack of power in some of these older plans. So let's talk about that for a moment before we get right to the nitty-gritty and show you the numbers of how they work out. Well, we were around originally in multi-level marketing, right? So going back into the late 80s, I was in Melaleuca, and some of these companies, I was never in Amway or anything like that, but I understood those plans. And there's nothing wrong with those plans as long as you know what you're getting into. And the problem with the original multi-level marketing plans, as I see it, and remember this is strictly our opinion here, is that when you have that many levels, the problem is that if the product is $40 or $50, the company has to pay for that physical product, if it's a health product or whatever it may be, and then the little bit of money that's left over has to be pushed through all those levels, and some other amount has to be taken out for all those bonus pools and all these things that are going to make you money. At the end of the day, when the smoke clears and you look at all the PV and the bonus points and all the things that are going on, you're making such little money in the multi-level marketing, straight multi-level marketing plan. Sometimes it's as little as 40 or 50 cents on an item that's costing $25, $30, $40. It's just not going to make anybody's monthly mortgage payment. You're going to have to go out there and get way too many people and convince them to do the same thing. So then what ended up happening was there were binaries, and I believe it was right at the end of the 80s, actually it was early 90s with the phone cards, and we saw this amazing change where everybody was touting binaries. Binary is interesting because it's two straight lines, right, on your left and your right. The problem is that when you really look at the way they work out, it's really cheating you. It really is, because your left has to equal your right, and when it doesn't, they don't have to pay you the full amount. And this is the trick that the companies use when they use binary. There are things and there are binaries out there that are better than others, okay? But most of them, it really is a way for the company to hold back paying you money in most of those binaries. So that's the problem there. Then we got really excited, and I have to tell you, I love the model. We got really excited when just about 6 years ago, the first company started coming out with the revenue sharing model. I love the revenue sharing model, okay? The problem is, in most places, it's just not sustainable, okay? Because everybody's looking at all these big numbers, And if that day or that week the revenues aren't as high, everybody gets upset. Psychologically, they start to panic. They want to pull their money out, and they're afraid that everything is crashing. Most of the time, it's not crashing. It's just that the people don't understand the way revenue share works. That's the problem. Sustainability. So we wanted to come up with something new, something that actually had the power of teamwork. So it really meant something, where the numbers and the people being brought in, it really meant something to teamwork. And we wanted the most money being put back into the affiliate plan, okay? We wanted it to be sustainable, all right? You couldn't let somebody come in for $50 and hope that millions of people were going to come in after them and nobody continued to pay anything in, that there was no legitimate product that people were paying for on a monthly basis. We know we have a monthly subscription here for advertising, affordable advertising. So now, let's switch to the whiteboard, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what makes the mirror compensation plan so different and so powerful for all of us. We'll be right back after this quick, brief message. Okay, welcome back. We're at the whiteboard, and we're going to be using this whiteboard in the future to show lots of different numbers and statistics as we go forward. So get used to it. All right, we were talking about some of the older style comp plans and where the mirror compensation plan came from. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about that and a little bit more of the numbers. So first of all, what did we want to accomplish by using something totally revolutionary, introducing something new into the affiliate marketing space? Well, number one, we didn't want any qualifiers. I used to hate all those MLM qualifiers because you could never figure out what you were going to make because you had to figure out all these qualifiers to see if you made it. We don't have any qualifiers. What you make is what you're supposed to make, okay? There's no group bonuses, there's no things to hold you back, left legs, right legs, and all the other stuff. Forget it, throw it away. Easy to figure out what you're going to make every week, every month. All right, second, we wanted to get rid of the tiny penny payouts. You know what I'm talking about. People that have actually looked into those other matrix style things for the most part, that go 20 levels, 14 levels, they pay on the even levels and they don't pay on the odd, and they give matching bonuses and all that stuff. The bottom line is they show you a big number on the bottom, but when you actually do the math and you realize that you're making 20 or 25 cents a person and you're only making it on half the levels, the problem is you need about 100,000 people to make money. I'm not bringing in 100,000 people. Maybe you are. So that's a problem. We got rid of it. All right. The other thing is we didn't want the growth of the overall company, the overall amount of people in the system to affect your earnings or my earnings. So whether you brought in 5 people or 500 people, what the company did overall or what other people are doing or not doing should not put any kind of a damper on the commission check that you make. And that's a very strong one because we've seen that happen in other companies. All right. We also didn't want anybody to lose referrals, meaning that the push-ups. So there are systems that you've probably seen where the even numbered guy pushes up and he's gone. You lose him. That's it. He's done. It's like you never even brought him in. Sometimes it's 2 people moving up. Sometimes it's even. Sometimes it's every odd. We liked the teamwork aspect of working with the people above and helping to build them at the same time that you're building yourself. It creates a really good synergy, but we didn't want you to lose anybody. And that's where the model comes in. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so we're talking about the Trackolia, what we call mirror compensation plan or dual compensation plan. You can get most of this information from the Trackolia homepage. Right below the video, there's a PDF that says dual comp plan. You should download that so you really understand these numbers and can go through it. But let's do a little bit of hypotheticals. Okay, first of all, let's make sure we all understand the structure, right? Let's make sure we understand the structure. So here's the deal. Here's Joe, right? Here's Joe. Okay. Joe comes in to Trackolia. He's introduced either as a free member right now during pre-launch, or he comes in after our full launch. All right? Joe's going to pay $20 for app package number 1 to get his banners on the website and into the apps at that point. All right? $20 a month. Now, Joe, like everyone, is put into 2 comp plans. Joe has an even comp plan and an odd comp plan, or grid. I like to call them grids. So here's Joe's even, and here's Joe's odd. Okay. Now, they are identical. Everybody has an even, everybody has an odd. All right? So when Joe brings in his first person, right, we'll call them Jane, right? And I know I'm writing too small here, but just assume that that's Jane, right? Jane is there, and Jane is also falling onto this. The reason I call them a mirror, because it's a mirror. It's exactly the same, okay? So every time you bring a person in, they're going to fall onto both of these comp plans. Here's where the discrepancy is. Here's the secret sauce. Here is what makes everything happen. On the even plan, Jane is the first person that Joe brought in. Okay, everybody sees that. They're number 1 in the line going across the page, right? To infinity. All right, to infinity, right? Across the page. No down line, across the page. So, Jane is number 1. Number 1 is an odd number, right? So, on the even plan, Jane, even though she filled the number 1 spot, does not stay with Joe for commission purposes. Jane moves up to whoever's Joe's upline is on the even plan. Okay? But Joe does not lose Jane in the mirror compensation model. You don't lose anybody. So Joe keeps Jane, all right, in the odd grid. In the odd grid, he keeps her. So what does that actually mean? All right? Now, you know the second person is Mark, right? And Mark is number 2, right? Mark is number 2. Well, obviously what happens? In the even plan, Mark stays with Joe because he's number 2, right? So that's the first commissionable person on the even plan, right? But on the odd plan, Mark is number 2. He moves up to the sponsor that Joe has, the upline that Joe has in the odd plan. These are never the same uplines. Does that make sense? Can you understand why Joe has a different upline on the even than the odd? Just the same way that Jane has a different upline on the even than the odd. Because Jane has moved up here to the upline, to Joe's upline here, so she has an upline on the even, and Jane has a different upline on the odd, Joe, right? So we are keeping all of our people in either the even or the odd. We don't lose anyone. We keep them in one of them, all right? So let's take it one step further. So now the same thing happens. So Joe has Mark on the even, and he has Jane on the odd. How does this now translate? And watch the way the movement is. This is what builds so incredible, right? So Mark now brings in, let's say, 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? He brings in 5 people. Now, Mark is no longer connected to Joe on the odd. So whoever Mark brought in, that's going to be separate. We're not going to look at that. We're going to look at what happens in relation to Joe. Okay? Because Joe still has Mark on the even plan, right? So now, on Mark's even plan, he has an even and an odd. We don't care about the odd because it's not connecting to Joe, right? Mark's even plan, he brings in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, right? Now, this is the even plan. So what happens to the odds? Well, this odd, 1, 3, and 5, guess where they're going? They're going up to Joe, right? They're going up to Joe. And they are going to be called directs. So when you look at your box and your genealogy under the My Affiliates section, that's why there's always 4 boxes. You have your even grid box, you have your odd grid box, and then you have the two direct boxes. The people that are in your direct boxes are the push-ups from those grids, the even grid or the odd. I hope that makes sense. It's pretty simple once you get it. So now, let's do the numbers. So Joe obviously is going to make $8, right? It's $4 to admin, and in the first app package, it's $8 even, $8 odd. Joe keeps Mark what? In the even. He's going to make $8 here, but he's also going to be making $8 from all the people that Mark pushed up, right? 8, 8, and 8, right? So that's 8 times 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though Joe only brought in 2 people, he's now getting credit for those other people. Now, what happens when Joe, and let's erase this and we're going to actually do the math here. So I hope everybody understands the power of the even and the odd and the actual teamwork that's taking place to build all of our revenue streams. So let's do a few numbers here. Okay, so let's do a couple of hypotheticals and it'll make sense, right? All right, we know it's $20 for the ad pack, for the monthly ad app subscription. All right, so let's do numbers. Let's go back to Joe for a second, and let's say that Joe actually, during this great pre-launch phase, which is free to bring people in, all your friends that are in MLMs, business opportunities, information, marketers, everybody who needs traffic that can't normally advertise in apps. All right, that's why we're doing this. So here we go. Joe has a list of people that he's been involved with before in his primary businesses. DS Domination, Empower Network, Bitcoin Club, whatever it may be, whatever you're involved with, offline, online, these people need traffic. So Joe brings in 40 people during pre-launch. 40 people. Pretty easy. They didn't have to spend any money, right? Let's assume, for argument's sake, all 40 people love what they see and they become subscribers when we go live, okay? Now, we know that Joe is going to have all 40 of these people, right? Even though he's going to lose them on the even or the odd, all 40 are going to stay with him on one or the other, all right? So what does that mean? So Joe simply introduced 40 people, and he's going to make $8, right? $8, and that's going to now equal out to $320. Okay, now, you're not going to pay your mortgage, right? Nobody's getting overly excited. It's nice to get an extra paycheck a month. The $320 isn't bad, all right? But here's the way that I look at this, okay? Joe joined here not just for a paycheck. Joe joined here for traffic. It's costing him $20, all right? So now he has fully paid his $20 a month. Nothing is coming out of pocket now because he's making $320, right? So he's making $300. His advertising is paid for every month. Not an issue. All right. Now, let's move on. So what happens if Joe, all right, if Joe's 40 people bring in 25 people each? And remember, this is a hypothetical. We're only showing you the numbers. You can redo these numbers with smaller numbers, bigger numbers. You may be a super affiliate that can bring in 1,000 people, or you may be somebody that's going to bring in 5 people. It all works. All right, so his 40, okay, brought in 25, all right? So those 40 brought in 25 people, all right? 25 people, all right, each, okay? So now, let's look at the numbers. 40 times 25, 40, wow, that looks pretty terrible. I can't get the board to write too well. 40 times 25, okay? 40 times 25 is 1,000, all right? So even though he only brought in 40 people, there's going to be 1,000 people that were brought in under him. Now during pre-launch, these are easy numbers because it's completely free and everybody wants to join something that's fresh, new, and has advertising, a real product. So you got 1,000 people that came in from these 40, all right? All right, so now, the way that it ends up working out is half of the people, 50% of these people will move up to Joe as a direct. 50% of them, because he's going to keep them in one of the two, right? He's going to keep the 40 and everything, but he's not going to have all the push-ups, right? Because he's going to have them in the even or the odd. So he's going to have 50% of the push-ups coming to him, because the other 50% of the push-ups are going to the opposite sponsor, the person that the other in the other grid, that's the upline of the 40 people, right? So 50%, okay? That's 500 directs are coming up, 500, all right? So what does that actually mean? If we do the numbers, 500 times 8, right? We always make the same amount, $8. The math is simple, all right? There's no crazy levels here. That's going to come out to $4,000. $4,000. Now, you understand why this is such a big deal? Joe brought in 40 people. We have push-ups. He's making money, and the other person, the upline on the other side of it, is making money at the same time, and his 40 people are also sharing people coming up, okay? And look at the power of these small numbers. Look at the power of that. $4,000. What is Joe spending a month? $20. $20, okay? $20. That's what it is. That is reality. Where you see this, and some of the other things that we've noticed, if you do the numbers, you need 100,000 people to even make a few $1,000s at 20 cents a pop. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Or, if it's a real product, you're making 20 cents on a $50 product, and they're pushing it through so many levels that it doesn't work, or the qualifiers are a problem. No qualifiers. No qualifiers. This is the math. It's real simple, and it's a real product. Okay, so to finish this math, what is he making then? He's making $4,320 minus the $20 that it costs him every month. So he's making $4,300 every single month. Now, we're going to be doing these based on the anniversary date of the way people come in, their anniversary, their monthly anniversary. So this $4,000 is going to feel like an actual job, because you're going to get paid 1 week for the commissions that came in from that anniversary dates of those people. The next week you're going to get paid for those. So this is going to actually feel like a weekly paycheck. And I really like that a lot. I love that type of setup. That's just me. All right. So now that we've got a grasp on that, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's do one last thing and then we're done. All right. Here is the big multiplier. Now, as you know, this is an app network, okay? We're going to be coming out with packages. So when you advertise for the $20, you may get 3 or 4 apps that your ad is going to be rotated in. The next package may be a game package, so that there may be 2 games in that package that you're advertised in. They're all going to be individual packages, and there's going to be individual prices for each. For purposes of what we're talking about, let's assume that all the app advertising packages are the same thing, $20. Let me show you what happens. You saw with Joe that he was making $4,320 on his original 40 people that came in and their downline, okay? Well, 45 to 60 days from now, we're probably going to be coming out with the second app advertising package, all right? Let's say Joe is really lazy, okay? He went on a safari and he didn't bring any new people in. He was just happy with his $4,320, right? And collecting his paycheck every week for owning his own ad agency. Well, little did he know that app package number 2 came out for another $20, and he didn't bring anybody else new in, and for purposes of the hypothetical, even his people didn't bring anybody new in. We know that's not right, but that's what we're going to do. It's going to make the math easier. So what ends up happening? All of those people that are already part of Joe's genealogy, they certainly want more advertising. So they come in, they hit the button that they want to be involved in app package number 2. Why? Because they want to get the commissions from app package number 2, and they want the additional traffic and visitors from their ads being in the apps. What does that do? Well, what that ends up doing is it brings the commissions up to $8,640 a month on the exact same number of people, nobody else required. And we'll just take it one more shot. App package number 3 comes out a few months later, and those same 40 original people are now helping Joe to generate $12,960 a month. Okay? That's the power of the directs and the push-ups without you actually losing anyone. That's the reason that the even-odd grids, the dual compensation model, works. It also is the reason why this multiplier for every app package, real product, makes sense, because they are actually generating more traffic, more traffic, more traffic. All right? Now, just think about what would have happened here if Joe continued to bring in more people than his original 40, and those people continue to bring in people. There is no way that we would see these numbers. Those 40 could be 60 or 80. Those 80 people would have brought in, let's say they brought in more people than the 25 initially. These numbers become gigantic based on small, tiny numbers, not hundreds of thousands of people. All right? That's the power of the mirror matrix. We're going to be answering questions. We're going to be having a live audio conference call in the next week or so. If you have any questions or you don't understand something, contact us through the support or ask the question on our Facebook fan page. Remember, most of our communications, because it's far easier and there's no spam, will be on our Facebook page. If you don't have that, just put in Trackolia Power in the search in Facebook. Trackolia Power, you will get there, like the page, and every day we're going to be doing updates and video conferences just like this one. So I hope this helps a little bit. If not, read the PDF, click on it from the front page underneath the second video, and you can read about it yourself, and you can ask more questions in the future. That's the power of the mirror compensation plan. We hope that you've enjoyed our little presentation, and we understand and we hope that now it all becomes a bit clearer for you. This is during our pre-launch. This is the time that you should be building. Bring all those people in that you know need the traffic just like you, and before you know it, you will have the same as Joe, 40, 50, 100 people, and the same numbers or better than Joe. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next video over the next couple of days.